So you've mastered the tools, you've got the tech skills, but hard skills alone won't get you a job in cybersecurity in 2025. You want to know the real game changers, and it's not what you think. So these top 5 cybersecurity soft skills can actually make or break your career, and there's actually some skills in this video that many cybersecurity professionals with experience don't actually have. Hi, my name's AJ. I've been in cybersecurity for the last 9 years. On this channel, we teach all things cybersecurity for beginners. So let's get into it. So first up then, communication is a soft skill that you definitely need in cybersecurity, because cybersecurity isn't just about finding threats, it's about relaying those threats in a simplified way to other parts of the business. So for example, you want to be able to explain complex terms in a simplified way, because I've been during incidents, I've worked cybersecurity incidents, cybersecurity alerts, and more often than not, you'll want to be communicating that to positions like management and the CEO, and they don't always want the full complex jargon that comes with a lot of technical terms. They want a simplified summary breakdown of what is going on in that incident and what needs to be done to actually resolve it and make sure that the company is protected. Being able to explain and communicate these simplified summaries about a technical incident or aspect that is going on in cybersecurity is a huge skill to have. So you can do this by actually trying to practice to explain to your friends and family. So maybe there's a news article that has come in that you've been interested in, or something that you're kind of working on at your home project, for example. If you can start to teach other people who are not in the technical space, then this is going to really help you stand out when you're going for those cybersecurity jobs. And it's also going to help you connect with your team, and it's going to help you stand out in interviews by being a better communicator. The second soft skill you want to be looking into is critical thinking. So in cybersecurity, things are not always what they seem. So an alert might come in from a SIEM tool, your analysis tool, any cybersecurity tool, and you will always want to ask, what if? What is happening here? What's this? You don't want to be always relying on the cybersecurity tools, because they can only provide some of the context to what is actually going on. You, as an analyst or as a cybersecurity professional, have to provide the correlation and have to actually critically think to figure out what's going on, because an alert that comes into the security system could be noise, it might be a false positive, or it could actually be a threat. So you need to critically think to be able to work this out. And if we think back to 2013, where Target, it was a US-based company, was actually breached, there was actually an alert, network-based alert that was sent to their security system, which means it was detected, but it was actually missed. So anytime you see some kind of security alert, security threat, security incident, you always want to be asking yourself multiple questions to be able to pinpoint why this alert is fired, what could have triggered it, and potentially where the activity is going next. So we all know that cybersecurity and technology is always changing. That's why you need to be able to adapt to every situation. So there's an interesting article from Medium back in 2023, and they showed the evolution of cybersecurity, and they've got this interesting timeline. So they noted that 1960s to 70s, you had your first cyber attacks, where we had the beginning of computer networks. Then 1980s, first firewall technology, so security appliances were actually created. Then, as we had the rise of the internet, this increased the amount of viruses and worms that were actually being spread across these networks. Then the World Wide Web actually became more accessible in the 2000s, so it led to more significant attacks, such as phishing attacks started to begin, low-level phishing attacks, denial of service attacks, people knocking other people's websites off, for example. As we went into 2010, phishing became more advanced, ransomware. There was a rise of mobile devices and cloud computing, which cybersecurity professionals had to adapt to and try to secure. As we went into 2020, we obviously saw the rise of remote working, further cloud-based services, which were trying to be exploited by criminals. And now today, as we go into the future of cybersecurity, there's going to be a lot more AI and the use of automation in cybersecurity as well. So even from this brief history, it's not a long history of cybersecurity at all. We've had to stay up to date. And this is something that you need to be able to do as well. And if you always want to stay in a job, or if you even want to get a job, you always want to be curious, continuously learning, and taking at least 1 hour per week to understand what is changing in cybersecurity so that you can stay up to date. And this will be especially noticed when you go into interviews as well, when they ask you about what changes you see coming in the cybersecurity industry in the year that you're trying to start. So the fourth soft skill on the list is actually emotional intelligence. So during cybersecurity incidents, there's always high stress, there's always high emotions, and large parts of the company can't deal with these incidents, but you as a cybersecurity professional must be able to deal with high stress, especially even day to day when you're analyzing alerts. When an alert comes in, there's always that stress of, is it a true positive? Is it a false positive? You need to be able to deal with this, because when incidents actually arise, people will look to the calmest person in the room for help. And some of the best professionals that I've worked with, best management, best managers, best CISOs, best CEOs, have always been active listeners, and they've always been interested to understanding everybody's perspective during an incident, to take everything on board before they can actually make a decision about what to do to try and reduce the impact of that incident. So you can actually practice active listening at home. You can listen to your family and friends actively. Listen to what they're saying before you actually go to respond, take on all the information on board, and then go to respond in a way that shows that you've been actively listening. And this skill will serve you extremely well when you're going into incident rooms, when you're going into stressful situations in cybersecurity, because it's going to allow you to take on as much information as possible to be able to deal with that cybersecurity incident. So the final skill then is actually teamwork. So you probably hear this quite a lot. Teamwork, what does that actually mean? But it is actually a soft skill that many cybersecurity professionals often do lack, because they usually like working on their own projects rather than within a team. So the best thing you want to be doing is become comfortable saying, I don't know. And when you start to do this, other people in the team who also don't know will start to relate to you, and you'll start to create an environment where asking questions is a superpower. And then what will happen then is that all the team will begin to work together on certain alerts, certain incidents, certain projects that they're not familiar with, and they'll start collaborating, which ultimately is going to create a culture that is only going to benefit the company and make it more secure. So always ask questions. When I started, I felt uncomfortable asking questions because I didn't want people to think I was stupid. But eventually then a good friend of mine said, people who know something that you don't just know something that you don't. And when he said that to me, I was like, oh yeah, there's nothing wrong with asking questions. I'm just trying to find out that information. Doesn't always make them smarter than you, doesn't always make them better than you. They just know something that you don't know. So you can also see this here, you don't want to be one of those either. Be somebody in the team that is actually supportive. You want to help build a culture where you're actually looking out for your teammates as well. And you can't be one of these if you're trying to do this. And to be able to build this team culture, you want to say yes to people's ideas. Don't always cut people's ideas off. And you want to be able to make sure that you encourage the sharing of information, because in cybersecurity, sharing of information, things like threat intelligence, is extremely important for companies to do, but it's also extremely important for teams to do as well. And ultimately, like I said, it's only going to make the company more secure. So to conclude then, you now know the top 5 soft skills that are required in cybersecurity to be successful in 2025. So make sure that you're going out there and practicing these soft skills as well as your technical skills. Now I want to say thank you for watching. If you want to know the best technical skills to get a job in cybersecurity in 2025, make sure you go and watch this video next. Thank you for watching. I'll see you over there.